What's the word? What's the word?
You've got your sunrise. You caught a prize. You're making your Johnson. Party nights, summer whites. You, your friends, and your Johnson. Rooster tails, water trails. You, your kids, and your Johnson. Saturday nights, distant lights. You, your girl, and your Johnson.
You and your Johnson, a way of life for over 50 years.
And this is What's a Work Radio. I am Chris Tidwell. That's Brady Wedham. And you know what, Brady? You and I have been around the wrestling business for a minute, right?
Yeah.
A cup of coffee, so to speak, as they call it in the business. Have you ever, up until recently, seen so many dudes get so crazy simpy over the women in wrestling the way that they do nowadays? And go ahead, take a second and think about this, because you could go all the way back to like the diva era, and even you know what I mean, the Trish era of it. And but here's why I ask this. Recently, there was, I think it might have been Russo or Coronet or one of the guys out there had brought up a point that really made me start to think about this, is the fact that there's women in the WWE right now. And I'm not talking about their talents, because listen, you and I want to preface all of the things that I'm going to say here. I have never been a fan in the past of women's wrestling. Recently, I have become a fan of some women that wrestle. And here's why. They learned to fucking wrestle. That's why. Instead of just getting by on, their looks, their enhancements, so to speak, right? Because at no time are you going to see a dude doing that.
We can go back to the Jumping Bomb Angels. We can go back,
Sure.
to Alundra Blaze.
Okay.
They've been few and far in between. The Gail Kims over the years, the people like that. Even Trish, Trish really
Right.
did step her game up over the years and became a
Yep.
really good worker and a good hand. But yes, as collectively, as a whole, women's wrestling has been horrible since the mid 80s. Like really bad, hard to watch. Up
Now,
until about 4 or 5 years ago.
right. But there's been almost like a swap, almost like a hand-to-hand thing here. And the reason I say this is the wrestling has gotten better, but the selling of sex has gotten more as well. Because those names that you mentioned, the Alundra Blazes of the world, even Trish and stuff like that, outside of her, like, they would do the bikini shoots for the calendars and stuff like that. But what they wrestled in was actually very modest. If you look at some of the outfits that the girls are wearing nowadays, I'm surprised. There has got to be more glue than stitches holding these things into place.
The most viral video of last year has to be Rhea Ripley giving the stink face. Like, you know what I mean? This girl is literally walking around in Rikishi's gear.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at it, but I understand what you're saying, where it's gone from the point where they were doing bra and panties matches and doing like actual sexualization skits to now just putting them out there in a G-string taped to their vision. Like Liv Morgan and Rhea were pretty skimpy last night.
And don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted before all of you try to come at me or come at Brady or anything like that with the whole, oh, you're just a hater. Oh, you just don't like pretty women in skimpy clothes. Bro, I spent more time in strip joints in my day than you can even imagine. I used to work for Hustler frickin' magazine. You think I don't know a thing or two about the female body and appreciate it? Absolutely I do.
Strip club deviant host. Don't make me get rid of another one.
Oh, no, I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Because I'm much older now. It's one thing to hang out in a strip joint when you're the same age as the strippers. But if I'm going to a strip joint now and I'm the same age as the strippers, brother, there's a problem.
We have alienated so many people with this fucking what. I love it. All right, yeah, Simps, you fucking little weirdos on Twitter. You
Yeah.
weirdos on YouTube that are only watching shorts of a still picture of Liv Morgan. Like literally, me and you could have taken that route. We could have taken this entire channel and just instead of talking about wrestling, just put up pictures of Liv Morgan and all that stuff. And I
Yeah.
guarantee it gets over. I've watched it happen. I'm watching it currently happen. It gets over. You guys are weird.
You're absolutely weird
You're fucking
because
weird.
you're simping for the wrong things. You're simping for these girls because they're flashing their boobs out or they got their parts hanging out. Their stuff is so short that you can tell what their religion is. You're simping for these girls because of what they're wearing, not because of what they're doing. In the world of professional wrestling, absolutely no male wrestler has the ability to get over with you marks the way that a female wrestler can. At no time is a male wrestler going to sit there and push his titties together and you're going to be like, "Oh, I got to buy that shirt." But you do it every single time for a female wrestler, no matter how good she is.
But,
You
but
do it because you want to imagine yourself with her.
I've seen men simp out for independent men like to men in the business. Like if you go to a comment section of like a crossbody pro wrestling match with Playboy John Atlas, you know what I mean, or a Psycho Mike, it's
Mhm.
all just like men simping for Mike's package and such. You know what I'm
That's
saying? So like it's the
yeah,
same thing though. It's these horny
absolutely.
simps. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's a female or male. I know we're using female as the actual topic discussion, but it's simps in general. And like if anyone doesn't know what that term is, because up until a couple years ago, I didn't even know what the fucking term means. It means desperate loser who spends their whole life wishing they could be with this person when they've never even had a conversation with them. I get it. I fell in love with Kelly Kapowski when I was a kid growing up, Saved by the Bell.
Mhm.
You all fell in love with Topanga if you were my age. You know, it happens. But there's a reality that kicks in where you're like, this is not what I think it is. Like, it's great for the spank thing, I guess, if you're growing up as a young male. But when I'm 40 years old, I'm not watching Rhea Ripley on TV and watching her in her stink face outfit being like, oh my God. That's just not a thing that goes through my fucking head. I'm watching the work rate. Now, does that make me a little limp wristed? Maybe, I guess, in some of your fucking opinions, but I'd rather have a limp wrist than a really solid wrist from touching myself from looking at pictures of Liv Morgan all day.
I love that you called her Rhea Ripley.
Did I?
That's amazing. Yep. That's well, I mean,
Got that?
listen. Here's the thing, and I'll even second that motion. Rhea Ripley, as far as what they're selling, as far as the image that the WWE is selling of the female wrestler, Rhea Ripley is not at the top of that list as
Mhm.
far as like the simpy beauty factor. That's your Tiffany Stratton's, that's your Liv
Mariah
Morgan's,
Mays.
that's your
Mariah's.
Mariah May for AEW,
Yeah.
right? You know what I mean? That's that. It's that stereotypical blonde wavy hair, fake boobs, right? Awful eyelashes, weird tan. Rhea doesn't fit any of that stuff. But Rhea, in my opinion, is one of the sexiest women that they've got on that roster. And you know why? For me, I'll tell you why. It's not because of what she wears. It's not the leather stuff. That's cool and everything like that. But it's the attitude of the way that she works. She's made herself go head and shoulders above the rest of them because of her work. And that's why I would simp out for somebody like a Rhea Ripley, because I want to see her work rate. I want to see her out there wrestling and do what she does best, not
Wait,
just sitting there in like, leather lingerie.
technically, you wouldn't be simping then. You would just be a fan of somebody's work.
Well, fuck me then, huh?
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like what you just said
100%.
is like the difference between that term simping and being a fan of someone. If you think a woman is pretty, there's no problems with being like, fuck, I want to collect everything I can of this beautiful woman. She's a beautiful woman. But the second that okay, look at motherfuckers used to simp out for Sunny so hard back in the day that in AOL, when it launched its free disc service, the number one downloaded picture multimedia of all of the internet at one point was pictures of Sunny. Look what happens. If you simped out your whole life for Sunny, guess what you're simping for now? A
Yeah,
fucking degenerate.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
fall in love with the image, fall in love with the work.
exactly. This is what I'm saying. It's okay to be a simp. Everybody,
I get that.
the world needs ditch diggers, but but you're simping for the wrong reasons, boys and
Yeah.
girls. All
Yeah.
right. Because you can say to yourself that whole line that you just said, oh, I'm simping for this person because I want to collect, I want to be a fan and I want to collect all of their stuff. I want every shirt that was ever made. Okay. When those shirts turn into sea rags, all right, bro, that's a different story. Ain't nobody buying a Randy Orton fucking shirt so that they can whack it in it. Okay. But I'm telling you, that's happening with a Tiffany Stratton shirt for sure.
You weren't
It's
supposed to tell
happening.
people my secrets.
Well, that's why I said Randy Orton.
Oh,
Sorry.
not Randy.
What I meant to say was
Shouts
Kofi
out to
Kingston.
Randy.
Absolutely.
I jerk off on
Absolutely.
Randy shirts every time he leaves one at my house.
So how do we get ahead of this? How do we move beyond that? Huh? I don't think you do. I don't think you do because the world of wrestling is full of enough degenerates that this is going to continue to happen. Eventually, some of those weirdos are going to get podcasts and start talking about stuff that they know nothing about. Oh, that would be the best. That would just a straight up simp podcast.
They already have one of those.
Oh yeah, it's called Draw Straws.
Oh, no, it's not. It's the best show ever. Anyway, we're going to take a break, guys. And when we get back, Chris, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk
We're
about
going
Conor?
to we're going to talk about some Conor McGregor because we're going to bookend all of this stuff so amazingly. It's going to be the best bookending you've ever had. It's so amazing. Listen.
That's actually pretty good, man.
It's not bad, huh?
Can you do that one more time, please?
Nope. You're going to have to rewind, suckers.
What's the word? What's the word?